This is a review comparison of 3 relatively inexpensive USB plug-and-play mics with a passing mention of 2 headphones and a couple of boom arms that I have used to record my Native American Style Flutes, native drums and rattles, my bodhran, the Celtic drum played with a stick, and my plucked psalteries, sometimes called a lap harp. My experience might be useful for anyone who wants good, natural-sounding recordings from any acoustic instrument, from piano to recorder to guitar and ukulele, and does not want to spend a lot of money. Like most beginning musicians, I made my first recordings with my phone. The recording software and hardware in your phone or tablet or computer is the equal of any recording equipment you can buy today, but you can't really expect much from the tiny built-in mics. For better sounding recordings, you need an external mic. For me, that meant, after some research on the many YouTube channels dedicated to recording and recording equipment, that I decided to get a USB mic that I could use with my iPad Pro to record my instruments. Why a USB mic? USB mics have the other components needed to use a mic directly with your phone, tablet, or computer built into the body of the mic. They are plug and play with most modern operating systems, and there is no need to invest in or manage a separate package of electronics between the mic and the recording device. And they are, all things considered, a good value for the money and get the recording job done with little fuss. Almost all professional music is recorded with the other kind of mic, called an XLR mic, which does require a separate interface to work with a phone, tablet, or computer. Most XLR mics, even without the extra equipment needed to use them, cost as much and generally way more, up to 30 times more, than a USB mic. But certainly, the more expensive XLR mics do sound better, especially in an acoustically treated studio and in the hands of a professional recording engineer. But for an amateur musician like me, recording in the bedroom, the USB plug-and-play solution has a lot to recommend it. My first external mic to use with my iPad Pro for recording was the Furine, which came with a desk-mounted boom arm to hold the mic where it needs to be, in front of your mouth, a shock mount, pop filter, and windscreen to help you not to record the bumps and footsteps and the moving air from both the peppers and beats in your narration, and a cable that works with both standard USB-A and USB-C. And no, I am not mispronouncing Furine, which is a well-known maker of quality budget USB mics. This is Furine, which may or may not be the same thing, but certainly makes no claim to be. The mic itself has high-definition specs, 24 bits at 196 kHz, meaning it should be able to record the full spectrum of sound with excellent detail, a gain knob to adjust the mic for situations where you are closer to or further away from the mic, and to match the mic levels to your recording equipment. It even has noise cancellation, similar to what many headphones feature, though I've never actually used it. And it has a low latency headphone jack, so that you can hear what you're recording while you are recording it. All good, and all for less than $40 on Amazon, with everything you need to get started, except the phone, tablet, or computer, and the headphones. I mean, is there any reason not to give it a try? But it was, after all, only $40, and the mic was only part of that price. So, being me, I had to wonder, as time went on, if I could get better sound with a better USB mic. In part, the issues I had with the mic were because I did not yet know how to record music. Yeah, I know, blame the equipment. I did a lot of research and bought the AKG Lyra Pro. It has 4 recording capsules, the part that actually picks up the sound, as opposed to the single capsule in the Furine, which gives it multiple recording patterns. You can set it to pick up sound from just the front, from the front and back for recording 2 people or instruments at the same time, and it even has 2 flavors of stereo. It has the necessary gain knob, a headphone jack with separate volume control, which makes it much more useful than the fixed volume jack on the Furine. However, it only comes with a desktop stand and a USB-C to USB-A cable. This mic, at the time of its introduction a few years ago now, was rated by many as the best USB mic ever in the world. I bought mine renewed on Amazon for $80. It is better, or at least more forgiving of my inexperience, but I never really got to love the thing. More recently, I was seduced by a YouTube video and bought the Presonus Revelator. It's such a great name. Who could resist? This is another multi-pattern mic, though not stereo, with high-resolution specs, a headphone jack, and a multi-function gain and volume knob that can adjust mic gain, headphone volume, and the mix you hear between the two. So far, pretty standard for a $100 USB mic, but it goes way beyond the standard. It has a built-in digital signal processor, like the one in your phone or tablet or computer. You can add sound effects and tailor the sound right in the mic, with 4 presets that can be customized and saved to the mic using the included software on the Mac or PC. You can change the sound of the mic and your recording just by pressing the preset button on the mic. For really advanced recordings and streaming, you can also run other music loops from other apps on your computer through the mic for a complete production. And it comes with a very advanced and powerful digital audio workstation, the app for recording, editing, and song creation, with all kinds of filters and loops and instruments, a MIDI keyboard, everything the aspiring music recorder might need, that runs on both Mac and PC. I bought my Revelator on Amazon for just over $90 new. The good news is that you can make a decent, quite professional sounding recording with any of these mics, and I have some comparisons to show you that demonstrate that. But first, let me tell you what I did not like about each mic, the things that make each one harder to use than it needs to be. The Furine's lack of a headphone volume control on the mic makes it more difficult to monitor what you are recording, and that is especially important because of all these mics, the Furine appears to have the least headroom. It's what they call a hot mic to begin with. You barely need to turn the gain up at all for close mic'd instrument recordings, even set low. It is very easy on a particularly loud note or passage to get clipping, that saw blade, chopped steel, harsh sound of electronics in pain that simply ruins your recording and cannot easily be taken out. This is not a fatal flaw, but it does mean that you have to be very careful setting your levels. The AKG Lyra Pro is about as good a USB mic as you can get, but having the gain control on the back, where it's hard to see and hard to get hold of when needed to set levels, is nothing short of a pain, and I always turn it the wrong way. Have to stop everything and think about what I'm doing and start over. Talk about interrupting the flow. Then too, while it is great to have a headphone volume control, the knob on my unit does not seem to do much, and the sound from the headphones is both weak and thin, making it harder than necessary to set levels or to hear your mix. The Lyra is also super sensitive to any physical touch on it or its support or the table or the desk it's on or even the floor around you. Again, nothing fatal, but it just means that you have to take more care. Which takes us to the Revelator. While the Revelator is arguably the best sounding USB mic I have used, and is certainly the most forgiving of mistakes, as well as having the richest feature set, really it is a cut above any other $100 USB mic in both sound and features. But I was super disappointed to find that the software for the iPad, which is my recording device of choice, does not, in fact, control the mic when it is actually attached to the iPad. The iPad software is only a remote control for the software running on your Mac or PC when the mic is attached to the Mac or PC. Not good. I do not want to have to hook the mic up to the Mac or PC every time I want to use any of the advanced features. If I wanted to use my Mac for recording, I would, but I prefer to use my iPad Pro. And the same goes for the DAW software. Turns out that what runs on the iPad is, again, only a remote control app for the actual DAW running on your computer. It does allow you to do quite a bit remotely from your iPad, but only if you're actually running the software and recording on your Mac or PC. For those of us who rely on an iPad, a remote just does not do it. It's not like I didn't research this before buying. From the visuals I saw on the Presonus site and on Amazon, it certainly appeared that both the control software and the DAW were running on an iPad. Those images are gone now, by the way. You can still use the mic on your iPad, and you do have all the 4 custom presets you stored on the mic when connected to your computer, but you cannot make any other changes from the iPad, and that includes changing the pickup pattern. Get with it, Presonus. iPads are a thing. As for the mic itself, the only complaint I had was when you are setting the gain, the multifunction button invariably reverts to headphone volume, its default, before the job is done, which means pressing the monitor button way too many times to switch it back to gain control. So, that brings us to the actual comparison of the sound which can be recorded by these 3 mics. For the comparison, I set up all 3 mics at the same time on my Mac. I know, but the iPad still only recognizes one USB mic at a time. I did the initial recordings in GarageBand. I matched levels as closely as possible and recorded the same track with all 3 mics. It took me several tries to find a level the Furine was happy with, and I could have used much higher levels on the other mics without the Furine in the mix. I used my F minor Native American Style Flute, a 14-inch hand drum, and my plucked psaltery tuned to E minor to see how the mics handled a wide range of frequencies and dynamics. I then exported the tracks from GarageBand on the Mac as uncompressed WAV files and transferred them to my iPad and N-Track Studio, where I lined up all 3 tracks and carefully matched levels again. Then I clipped the tracks up and pasted sections into a new track so I could compare exactly the same passage recorded with each mic. Finally, I recorded my N-Track screen as the tracks played so that you can see when the mics switch and which mic is playing. Yeah, if I had the equipment, there is surely a better, easier way to do that, but this is the best I could do with what I have. So here are some clips from the finished comparison videos, enough, I hope, to justify my conclusions. First up, the F-sharp Native American Style Flute. This is an unprocessed recording with no filtering or effects. You may want to back up and listen to that again, or maybe several times. Then let's try some psaltery. It is maybe easier to hear the differences on the psaltery. How about a snip of drum for the other tones and dynamics? So, what do you hear? From what I hear, with my 75-year-old ears, the three mics produce very similar results. The Revelator is the smoothest of the three, and a clear, open, natural sound. The Lyra is a close second, and some may prefer it. It's a bit thinner to my ear, but still very faithful to the instruments. The Furine, for a mic that came in a complete kit for $40, sounds surprisingly good. It has some rough edges, which are apparent when you look at the waveforms in an equalizer, but nothing that you could not smooth out if you wanted to in software with equalization. And again, some might like that rough edge. Speaking of processing and effects, so far we've only listened to the dry recording, with no filters or effects. Here are the short improvisations on the F-sharp Native American Style Flute, processed to the best of my ability. Unless you hear something different than I do, these comparisons just go to show that if you are careful with levels and spend some time setting effects to get the most out of each mic, well, you'll still get different sounding recordings, but the quality of the recordings is pretty similar. There you go. You can get a satisfying sounding recording from any of these USB mics, including the one in the $40 Furine kit. I was going to go over some of the advanced features of the Revelator, but honestly, there are already some good videos that cover that ground. I will link a few in the description. And I promised to mention headphones and bodhrans, so here's just a mention. I have tried two inexpensive headphones, which are well rated for studio and mixing work. The AKG K72, which I bought when I bought the Lyra, also renewed, and the Audio-Technica M20X, which I got used like new. You need good headphones to hear what you are recording and to add effects, and later to mix tracks when you have recorded more than one instrument. I was disappointed in the AKGs because my finished song sounded very different when played through my fairly high-quality Bluetooth earbuds. Turns out, it may have been the headphone amp in the Lyra, but by the time I had figured that out, I had already ordered the Audio-Technicas, based on many positive YouTube headphone comparisons and reviews. The AKGs are more comfortable by far, but the Audio-Technicas do sound, perhaps, a tiny bit better, especially in the higher frequencies, no matter what you plug them into. But they are really so close that I switch back and forth between them when my ears need a change. Boom arms. A boom arm's only job is to hold the mic up securely where it needs to be, close to the instrument or your mouth. The boom arm that came with the Furine kit is the standard inexpensive external spring-loaded lightweight boom arm with a 3/8-inch mic mount that you can buy from any number of vendors on Amazon for anything from about $15 to $35. They all appear to be identical and quite likely are all made in the same factory in China. Mine gets the job done. It would not support a heavy mic, but it works fine with these three. It is noisy when you move it, and sometimes flexes alarmingly, but the mic has never fallen, and it stays where I want it. I doubt it will last long, but mine came free with the mic, or the mic came free with it, and you can afford to replace a $15 boom arm every few years. I did research and buy a more robust arm with internal springs. The one I got is the smaller of the two Paroma boom arms, which are going for $33 on Amazon today. Again, this same boom arm is apparently available under quite a few different brands on Amazon, and again, they all look, from the photos and the descriptions, to be identical. Shop by reviews and price, but I can recommend the Paroma as one that mostly works and seems to be sturdy enough to hold most any mic. At this point, you might be thinking, if you can get a good recording of an acoustic instrument with an under $100 USB mic, plug-and-play mics, even a $40 mic, what would you get if you went the more professional XLR and digital interface route? Could you get better quality at anything near the same price, or at least for under $200? Yeah, I wondered that too. Catch the next video. Can you record acoustic instruments with an inexpensive XLR mic and interface? I plan a third video where I will address the should you of all this and share some final observations and thoughts and things I've learned about recording acoustic instruments with inexpensive mics.